5 life-changing morning words to rewire your mind. Stoic motivation daily. There is a strange battle that happens every morning. Most people never notice it. Before the noise of the world begins, before notifications flood your mind, before responsibilities pull you in 100 directions, there is a quiet moment. A moment where your mind is soft, vulnerable, and impressionable. That moment decides the direction of your day. Some people wake up already defeated. They open their eyes carrying yesterday's fear, yesterday's regret, yesterday's anxiety. Before they even leave their bed, their minds are already exhausted. But the Stoics believed something powerful. They believed the morning was not just the beginning of another day. It was the beginning of another chance to rebuild yourself. Every sunrise gives you an opportunity to think differently, act differently, become differently. And the words you repeat each morning slowly become the architecture of your life. Because thoughts become actions. Actions become habits. Habits become character. And character becomes destiny. So today, we are going deep into 5 life-changing morning words that can completely rewire your mind, strengthen your spirit, and transform the way you face life. These are not ordinary words. These are survival words. Discipline words. Power words. Words that can pull a person out of darkness and push them toward purpose. And if you truly want to become mentally stronger, calmer under pressure, and more disciplined every single day, subscribe to the channel now and join thousands of people building unstoppable minds through Stoic wisdom. Now dim the noise around you. Take a deep breath. And listen carefully. Because one of these words may completely change your life. The first word is begin. Most people spend their entire lives waiting. Waiting for confidence. Waiting for motivation. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for life to magically become easier. But the Stoics understood something dangerous about waiting. The longer you wait, the weaker your courage becomes. There is a story about a young man who dreamed of becoming a writer. Every single day he imagined success. He pictured people reading his work. He pictured changing lives with his words. But every morning fear stopped him. What if I fail? What if nobody cares? What if I'm not good enough? So instead of writing, he distracted himself. He watched others succeed while convincing himself his time would eventually come. Days became months. Months became years. And slowly, his dream began dying inside him. One morning, while walking through a small village, he met an old carpenter repairing a broken wooden chair outside his shop. The carpenter looked peaceful, focused, certain. The young man asked him, "How do you stay so disciplined every day?" The old man smiled and held up a tiny nail. Then he said something the young man never forgot. "A great chair is built one nail at a time. A ruined life happens the same way." That sentence hit him like lightning. Because suddenly he understood something. Greatness is not created in giant moments. It is created in tiny beginnings repeated consistently. A strong body begins with one workout. A successful business begins with one attempt. Confidence begins with one uncomfortable action. Healing begins with one honest decision. Everything changes the moment you begin. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself every morning that he would face difficult people, discomfort, frustration, and obstacles. Yet he still rose from bed with purpose because he understood something many people never learn. Action defeats fear. Most fear exists because of hesitation. Think about it. The hardest part of running is putting on your shoes. The hardest part of studying is opening the book. The hardest part of changing your life is starting before you feel ready. But nobody ever feels fully ready. And that is why most people remain trapped in the same cycle for years. They wait for certainty in a world that guarantees none. Listen carefully. Your future is being shaped by what you repeatedly delay. Every dream you ignore slowly teaches your mind to doubt itself. Every excuse weakens your discipline. Every postponed action trains your brain to fear movement. But the moment you begin, even imperfectly, something powerful happens inside you. You prove to yourself that fear does not control you anymore. And once a person learns that, their entire life changes. So tomorrow morning, before touching your phone, before checking social media, before listening to the opinions of the world, sit quietly for 1 minute and whisper this word. Begin. Say it slowly. Feel it. Because your new life cannot start until you do. And if this message is speaking to your soul already, subscribe to the channel and continue this journey toward mental strength, discipline, and inner peace. The second word is endure. This is the word that separates weak minds from powerful ones. Because anybody can feel strong when life is easy. Anybody can smile when everything is working. Anybody can stay motivated when results arrive quickly. But what happens when life becomes painful? What happens when your plans collapse? What happens when you lose something important? That is where endurance is born. There was once a runner training for an important marathon. Every single morning he woke before sunrise to train. At first, everything felt exciting. But then came the difficult days. The cold mornings. The aching muscles. The loneliness. The exhaustion. Some days rain poured so heavily that the roads became dangerous. Other runners stayed home. Friends told him to rest. But he continued. Not because it was easy. Because he understood something important. Pain is often the entrance to transformation. Months later, race day finally arrived. And something unexpected happened. A violent storm struck during the marathon. The wind was brutal. Rain hit the runners' faces. Many competitors panicked because they had only trained under perfect conditions. But the runner remained calm. Why? Because the storm felt familiar. He had already suffered before this moment arrived. And that is what endurance does. It prepares you for battles other people cannot survive. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that difficulty is not an interruption to life. Difficulty is part of life. A person who expects comfort all the time becomes fragile. But a person who learns to endure hardship develops unshakable strength. Look at nature. Trees grow stronger against the wind. Muscles grow stronger under resistance. Diamonds form under pressure. And the human mind is no different. Some of the strongest people you will ever meet were built during painful seasons nobody saw. Maybe you are in one of those seasons right now. Maybe life feels heavy. Maybe you are emotionally tired. Maybe you feel forgotten. Maybe you are fighting battles silently while smiling publicly. But listen carefully. This difficult season is not proof that life hates you. It may be proof that life is preparing you. The people who become unstoppable are not the people who avoided suffering. They are the people who learn how to survive it without losing themselves. Seneca once said that hardship strengthens the mind just as labor strengthens the body. And history proves this again and again. Many people discover their true strength only after life removes their comfort. Sometimes pain introduces you to the strongest version of yourself. So tomorrow morning, when your problems try to overwhelm you, when your emotions feel heavy, when your motivation disappears, repeat this word. Endure. Because storms do not last forever. But strong people do. And if you are still watching, subscribe now for more Stoic wisdom that strengthens your mind and transforms your perspective every single day. The third word is control. This single Stoic principle has saved countless people from anxiety, anger, and emotional exhaustion. The Stoics believe there are two types of things in life. Things you can control, and things you cannot. Most suffering happens when people confuse the two. People waste years trying to control opinions, trying to control outcomes, trying to control how others treat them, trying to control the past, trying to control the future. And while they fight impossible battles, they lose control of the one thing that truly matters: themselves. There is a story about a wealthy merchant who lost nearly everything during a violent storm at sea. His ship sank. His cargo disappeared. Years of hard work vanished overnight. The people around him expected him to collapse emotionally. But instead, he remained strangely calm. When someone asked him how he could stay peaceful after such devastating loss, he replied, The storm controlled the sea. But I control my response. That is true power. Not controlling the world. Controlling yourself within it. Most people think power means dominance over others. The Stoics believed power meant mastery over your own mind. Can you remain calm when insulted? Can you stay disciplined when nobody is watching? Can you stay focused while chaos surrounds you? Can you control your emotions instead of letting them control you? That is strength. Because uncontrolled emotions destroy lives. Anger ruins relationships. Fear destroys opportunities. Jealousy poisons peace. And overthinking steals joy from the present moment. Think about how many nights people destroy by replaying situations they cannot change. How many mornings begin with anxiety about things that have not even happened yet. How much energy disappears into imaginary problems. But the moment you focus only on what is within your control, your mind becomes lighter. You stop chasing approval. You stop fearing rejection. You stop giving strangers the power to control your happiness. Marcus Aurelius wrote something deeply powerful. You have power over your mind, not outside events. That sentence alone can transform a life. Because once you understand it, you stop expecting the world to become easier. And instead, you become stronger. Tomorrow morning, before your thoughts begin racing, pause, breathe slowly, and say this word: control. Because peace begins the moment you stop fighting uncontrollable things and start mastering yourself. And if this message is helping you become mentally stronger, subscribe now and continue building a calm and disciplined mind through Stoic wisdom. The fourth word is grateful. Modern society has trained people to constantly feel incomplete. More money. More followers. More attention. More possessions. People keep chasing happiness while ignoring the blessings already surrounding them. And because of that, many people become rich externally but empty internally. There was once a man who spent years complaining about his life. He hated his small apartment. He hated his old clothes. He hated his difficult job. Every morning began with frustration. One day, while visiting a hospital, he saw a young patient struggling simply to breathe. Machines surrounded the bed. The patient smiled weakly at his family despite the pain. And suddenly, the man felt ashamed of his constant complaints. On his way home, something strange happened. For the first time in years, he noticed the beauty around him. The warmth of sunlight. Children laughing in the streets. The ability to walk freely. The simple miracle of being alive. Nothing in his life had changed. But his perspective had. And perspective changes everything. The Stoics practiced gratitude daily because they understood an important truth. A grateful mind suffers less. Gratitude does not mean pretending life is perfect. It means recognizing that even inside imperfection, beauty still exists. There are people right now praying for the things you already have. Think about that. Some people would give anything for another healthy morning. Another chance. Another conversation with someone they love. But many people wake up blind to the miracles surrounding them because they focus only on what is missing. And this mindset creates endless dissatisfaction. Because if happiness depends only on future achievements, peace will always feel distant. But gratitude brings peace into the present. It teaches you to value moments before they disappear. The Stoics would sometimes imagine losing the things they loved. Not to become negative, but to become appreciative. Because humans often realize value only after loss. Tomorrow morning, before rushing into stress, sit quietly for a moment. Look around your room. Look at your life. And repeat this word: grateful. Because the fastest way to feel rich is to appreciate what you already possess. And if you want more daily wisdom that strengthens your mind and changes your perspective, subscribe now and continue this journey toward inner peace and mental discipline. The fifth and final word is become. This may be the most powerful word of them all. Because become reminds you that your current identity is not permanent. You are not trapped by your past mistakes. You are not chained to old habits forever. You are not condemned to remain the same person. Human beings are constantly becoming something. The real question is, what are you becoming daily? There is a story about a sculptor standing before a giant block of stone. To everyone else, the stone looked ordinary, heavy, useless. But the sculptor stared at it with excitement. Someone asked him, "How can you see beauty inside something so rough?" The sculptor smiled and answered, "The masterpiece is already inside. I simply remove what does not belong." That is exactly how personal growth works. Strength already exists inside you. Discipline already exists inside you. Confidence already exists inside you. But fear covers it. Excuses cover it. Laziness covers it. Doubt covers it. And every good habit removes another layer. Every disciplined morning reveals more of your true potential. The problem is that many people identify too strongly with their current weaknesses. They say, "I'm lazy. I'm unlucky. I'm not confident." But those are not permanent identities. They are temporary conditions. And conditions can change. A person who trains daily becomes disciplined. A person who faces fear repeatedly becomes brave. A person who controls their mind becomes peaceful. Transformation happens slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. But eventually, the small daily changes create a completely different person. That is why mornings matter so much. Because the way you begin your morning shapes the person you are becoming. One disciplined morning may not seem important, but repeated over years, it changes everything. But the sculptor stared at it with excitement. Someone asked him, "How can you see beauty inside something so rough?" The sculptor smiled and answered, "The masterpiece is already inside. I simply remove what does not belong." That is exactly how personal growth works. Strength already exists inside you. Discipline already exists inside you. Confidence already exists inside you. But fear covers it. Excuses cover it. Laziness covers it. Doubt covers it. And every good habit removes another layer. Every disciplined morning reveals more of your true potential. The problem is that many people identify too strongly with their current weaknesses. They say, "I'm lazy. I'm unlucky. I'm not confident." But those are not permanent identities. They are temporary conditions. And conditions can change. A person who trains daily becomes disciplined. A person who faces fear repeatedly becomes brave. A person who controls their mind becomes peaceful. Transformation happens slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. But eventually, the small daily changes create a completely different person. That is why mornings matter so much. Because the way you begin your morning shapes the person you are becoming. One disciplined morning may not seem important, but repeated over years, it changes everything. Your habits are building your future identity right now. Your routines are shaping your destiny quietly behind the scenes. So tomorrow morning, stand in front of the mirror. Look yourself directly in the eyes. And repeat this word. Become. Because your future self is being created by what you repeatedly do today. And if you truly want to become mentally stronger, wiser, calmer, and more disciplined, subscribe now and continue growing with this community of Stoic thinkers and warriors. Now, before this video ends, pause for a moment. Think about these 5 words again. Begin. Endure. Control. Grateful. Become. These are not just motivational words. They are mental weapons. Use them every morning. Repeat them during difficult seasons. Carry them into battle when life becomes heavy. Because a strong life begins with a strong mind. And a strong mind is built one morning at a time. The Stoics believed that every sunrise was a test. A test of discipline. A test of perspective. A test of character. Most people lose the day before it even begins because they allow negativity to control their first thoughts. Do not become one of those people. Protect your mornings. Guard your mind carefully. Because the voice you listen to every morning eventually becomes the voice that controls your life. And one day, months from now, years from now, you will look back and realize something incredible. The life you wanted began changing the moment you changed the words inside your mind. Subscribe for more daily Stoic motivation, powerful mindset lessons, and life-changing wisdom. And remember, your mornings create your future.